This will frighten you. Mouse in my room last night.
What the fuck?
Mouse in my room.
A mouse?
A mouse. Not a rat. Mouse. The cousin to the rat. The smaller, friendlier. And I chased him.
Where is he staying? Is there a hole?
Dude, I couldn't believe this. I went, right, okay, he's went under there. I'm going to go into the hallway, open the front door, get the attachment to my Henry Hoover that makes it longer, crack where he's hiding, he'll run out from behind the mirror, have a mirror on the ground, and he'll run out into the close, and it'll be somebody else's problem. It'll be the problem of the intercom system. Whoever's in charge, whoever's trying to get in the building can have a rat run past them or whatever, a wee mouse or something. But as I done that, I went to open the door, he ran the opposite direction, ran under my bed, and then for some reason in my house, I'm renting this place, there's like a hole in the wall that's deliberately put there, and then there's like a kind of movable slat that goes from side to side on a swivel, and he just jumped in there. I've heard movements in the wall, and I just assumed that's my mind playing tricks on me in some kind of Edgar Allan Poe type thing. I'm going mental.
Your landlord's installed a rat flume.
Yeah. I just went, okay, I'll sellotape it up. So I got some masking tape and I've kind of sealed them in there because I'm assuming there's other exits and stuff, you know?
So your walls are alive with vermin.
Yeah.
And you've responded with sellotape.
Yeah. Well, masking tape is slightly stronger.
I mean, they can shoot through that.
Right. But here's the thing. That's what my girlfriend said. Here's the thing. It's like the slat. You can't chew through it because the slat's wooden on a swivel and I've sellotaped the slat shut. So it's not like it's just sellotape and then a mouse. It's like wood held in place by layer upon layer upon layer of masking tape.
The best case scenario is you fritzled a variety of vermin that are going to breed. And when they reach like a critical mass, will explode out of your walls.
I travel a lot, so hopefully it's when I'm not in. I can just come home.
I can't believe your nonchalance about this hideous situation.
I'm vermin myself, you know. Maybe it's a self-esteem thing. I seen him and I got a bit of a fright.
Would you not get someone in to put poison in it? Your landlord should get a fucking pest control guy to come round.
Potentially.
And then just you have a poisonous wall, a poisonous slat.
I'm thinking about opening this slat. But I'm so sure. Here's the thing. Should I be putting poison in my wall? Yes. I'm kind of worried. I think that there's other exits to this
undoubtedly.
maze.
Or if there aren't, they can just chew one.
Yeah. But I think that like if I open this slat to put the poison in, it's going to burst out and jump on my face and start eating my face, which is an issue. But if I just keep them in there, kind of ostrich type situation. Or an emu. What one is it? Ostriches have their head in the sand? Yeah. It'll be like that, where I'm just, as long as you're just in there doing your thing and I'm out here doing my thing, we can both coexist in this space.
I would definitely be looking at my old rental contract here if I'm essentially flatmate to a rat king.
Yeah. It's a spacious flat. I think that if I was in London...
Certainly if you're prepared to live in the walls.
Yeah. I think I used to have a mouse in my flat when I lived in another place, and it lived under the fridge, and he would wake up in the middle of the night and go about, and I would be up because I'm a bit of a nocturnal pest myself, playing Elden Ring, etc., and I'd look over and we'd exchange a glance and I'd say, go away.
One mouse and a whole bunch of mice is a different thing.
That's it, really, isn't it? I'm worried that it's like I was in the park recently and there's an infestation in the West End of rats. Like the whole West End of Glasgow is overflowing with rats.
Can I hit out with what I think this is all about? Individualism.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? The West End is overrun with rats because people all have their own bins. They don't cooperate. They stick the fucking bins out on the wrong day. They're all cunts. And what they really need is to reorganise things so that they have bin hubs. Do you know what I mean? Like they've done in fucking Pollokshields and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you want to have everything managed more closely, and they can't cooperate because of their hideous West End individualism. Because of that, as you said, I'm away a lot anyway. I'm off skiing. What do I care? The fucking area is pulled to pieces by fucking rats.
Yeah.
And as I've said to you a few times now, we need a system of rat sheriffs. Glasgow local rat sheriffs, the Governor rat sheriff, the Hindland rat sheriff, and so on. Yeah, they have a kind of stovepipe hat, they have a shillelagh, and they have 2 Patterdale Terriers. And you see them coming down the road, and you go, that's the rat sheriff. And they tear these things apart, screaming in the fucking streets. And, you know, it civilises the other ones.
It's just one of these things where everybody wants to be TikTok famous and nobody wants to be a rat sheriff. And it's like, do you know what? You could be both.
Yeah.
You could have your account of glorious rat assassinations, and maybe if you have a kind of Grado-esque cheery charisma to you.
Grado would be a fine rat sheriff. And Judith. Judith could be like a West End one, and Grado would be like Ayrshire or something like that.
Yeah, he's from Stevenson.
Well, he would be a fine
local
nominee, and then you spin it out into a fucking reality show. The rat sheriffs of Glasgow and Greater Dunbartonshire or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I've been watching some of that stuff. Mormon Housewives, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City,
Housewives of Atlanta.
It's pretty wild because, like, you know, you're trying to make a TV show, right? So you're just on some level, when they're doing the research, they're trying to find nutters. It doesn't matter what it is, the X Factor, whatever. And, you know, you say something a bit unconventional in that interview and they're like, oh, yes, keep a straight face. Well, we'll get you back, you know. If you're in America and all the people you're interviewing are fucking Mormons, I mean, it's just like you can go really big. So there's like this woman on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and she's like a preacher, and they're all super rich. And she has a kind of, I guess, a podcast, but it looks a bit like Heart FM, but it's all about God, right? And in the fucking preamble to one of the episodes, it goes whatever she's called, Cheryl is accused of running a cult. It cuts to like her co-host from the pod, and he's going, has she told me she's God? Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you can go a lot bigger. Because I remember reading that John Ronson book about Psychopath test, and there's a bit in that about reality TV and how the producers literally go through what medication you're on, and if they have to kind of find the balance, because if it's like serious antipsychotics, it's like you might be a bit much to handle, but you want to kind of get to who's mental enough to be interesting but they won't commit ritualistic murder suicide.
That's kind of how I feel dating, you know. Just trying to find that happy middle.
Yeah, I don't want to die, but I don't want to be bored. That's really all my issues.
You're not going to Lana Del Rey?
No, I'm not going to Rana Del Rey. It's nearly called her there. It's kind of Scooby-Doo style. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you kids. That's Lana Del Rey was a Scooby-Doo film.
That was chillingly authentic. My girlfriend's coming up. She's moving up, and we're going to Lana Del Rey the first night she's here.
I don't know if this was covered in the podcast, if this was a lunchtime chat, but you're planning on wearing a white linen suit.
I had been planning on losing some weight and buying a white linen suit. I haven't really lost that weight, and hence Power Man has been drafted in.
Power Man's been drafted in.
I'll just be wearing out my more conventional suit, I suppose.
Okay. All I would say is Percival does some absolutely cracking linen suits. And they're white. That's all I'll say. Percival's not for the linen suits.
You getting a backhander off this? I can't imagine they give you a hanky.
They give me a cravat. They give me a silk cravat in the style of Soho Scarves, which is a Soho scarf shop that I've seen Bill Nye come out of once.
He's always floating about.
He's always floating about Soho. I'm actually fed up seeing Bill Nye in Soho when I'm in Soho. I'm like, right, there's again. Jesus. What'd you do? What'd you do, Bill? Famous man. Just in Soho.
Was he not shagging Anna Wintour?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of cool stuff. Pathetic life, Bill. You handsome octogenarian shagger. No, I'm not going to go to Lana Del Rey. I don't know. It's just big gigs like that make me feel very See, when you're in a crowd.
You were about to say small, and then you realised you are small.
Well, I'm small, but they make me feel spiritually small, and they make me kind of lose faith in humanity sometimes when I go to big events like that, and people stop seeing you as a person when you're in a crowd that big. Do you know what I mean?
I do think though, Christopher, sometimes. I mean, I'm an absolute misanthrope. I'm not an absolute misanthrope, actually, but I'm a grumpy prick in a crowd. But you are like a little dauphin or something like that.
A dauphin?
Yeah.
Dauphin
like,
what potato?
Like the slightest kind of disturbance really destroys your equilibrium. Do you know what I mean? Someone smoking like 4 rows away.
That woman wasn't 4 rows away from me. She was right in front of me, and she was blowing smoke up my nose. She could have individually blown smoke up both nostrils separately if she wanted, and that's not a sexual thing for me. But she was, and you can't say I don't know what the word dauphin means, right? But
it's French prince,
right? I'm a dauphin, but her bisou, but her fucking boyfriend tripped over her bag and went face first into my dick. So this isn't French Prince.
I wasn't making a specific. I was doing a general thing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that specific.
I was talking about specific
concert we were at, which was ruined by those 2 people in front of me, and we had to leave. Sorry,
but yeah, so you've angrily rejected that mild criticism. That's fine.
No. I'm sensitive, and I don't like. I know exactly what would happen if I went to Hampden Park to see Lana Del Rey. I would enjoy
being mobbed by the fans for a start.
Because she's got a very broad demographic.
Yeah.
It's when I was a wee guy, Lana Del Rey came out and she was a pitchfork darling. She had video games, that song, playing video games, and she was like just for cool people. Then Summertime Sadness came out. She was collaborating with A$AP Rocky. And she became a genuine pop star, and she became mega, mega famous. And now she's doing that thing where she's an artist and she's putting out poetry books, and she's like not on the downward slide, but she's just cultivating a great body of work, and she's a genuine pop star. And I just don't think I want to spend time with her audience. I don't want to be in her audience. I don't like to be part of a big crowd. Have I said anything?
You've revealed a startling homophobia. That was the subtext. It's going to be 50% gay. Is what you're saying?
I don't think it will be 50%.
It'll just be a cloud of fucking twink vape.
No.
Above Hampden, like a fucking missile strike.
It'll be selfish, heterosexual women there.
It's already other kind.
And what I mean by that is women and people, just people really, who vape and don't care where the smoke goes. And their boyfriends who don't want to be there and want to get steaming with neck tattoos, I'd imagine. There'll be all sorts of folk there. And I don't want it. I don't enjoy. I don't think I would enjoy it. She's a great artist, but I think live performance. And the Beatles had the right idea when they said we're not doing this anymore, and then we'll fall out with each other and not speak to each other. But they just went, I'm not really enjoying live performance because touring is hell, and people are just screaming at us, and we can't even hear each other play music, so we're not into it. And I think a lot of performers, maybe not in the kind of punk space, but definitely hip hop and pop music. If you're not going for the big Lady Gaga live show where it's like a theme park for the senses, if you're just, I did not expect to talk about this, but like if
it was Gaga, you'd be there. That's what I'm hearing now. You're desperately
I'm not
desperately trying to claw back the gay pound.
The gay pound hasn't went anywhere. I think that not to accuse Lana of anything. I know she's a good Celtic supporter, and we're a fan of her here. Outside of that, but for me, I think it's a bit of a cash grab. Some of these arena tours, I think if she had any kind of, not self-respect, but I think if she was interested in a positive music experience, she would be playing the Royal Concert Hall, or King's Theatre, or the Playhouse or something like that. You know, she'd be playing a beautiful Matcham theatre. Everybody's sitting down. She's a chanteuse. Maybe there's people in a band behind it. Maybe a smaller ensemble. A jazz drummer with brushes, perhaps.
Not to compare myself to Lana Del Rey, but I've been known to do the odd cash grab show, and I think I'm just going to draw a line under that now. I'm never doing anywhere that has a basketball hoop again, and it'd be better to not do it. Certainly on our last tour, I was like, it'd be better to just have the night off here than do this horrible fucking thing.
Thank you for taking me on that tour. It really put some hairs on my chest, you know? Like, it's one thing when you're a new comedian and you're playing, say, Turbolton Masonic Hall, which was a gig I'd done a few times. And you're like, this is hard. And it's kind of giving you. But to be like, everybody here came for comedy and they're facing the right way. And it's hard. The room's hard. And you need to connect with these people who have got no interest in you. It really puts hairs in your chest. So thank you very much.
And it's good to know you did well. And also, to keep pushing out and connecting with them. Because not everybody does. Some people go and support people on big tours and they just go, this is just not and I just go out and I go through this thing and they don't seem very interested. And you can't do that, I think, because it becomes very miserable.
Yeah. Some people have a spark inside them that died a long time ago. But yeah, I think it was. Listen, cash needs to be grabbed at some point. So I don't blame her, and I think some people just don't seem to have the misophonia. I don't think misophonia is the word, because I think misophonia is like when you don't like chewing noises. But some people they have this thing where if I'm really trying to listen or pay attention to something, and then there's these little distractions like someone's boyfriend headbutting my cock and balls, or raspberry melon flavoured vape being hoofed into my face, it really detracts from the live music experience for me. Or when I went to see the Strokes and someone was going, they should be playing Scottish songs. That really took away from seeing the Strokes for me. And part of me goes, maybe I don't like live music. Maybe I like the recorded music experiment. Maybe I like walking in the park listening to some music,
Yeah, I don't really like live music either, to be honest. But I like it more the more it's like the record, which is like probably not a great sign. Is it,
Yeah.
It's a romantic night out, man. And I think Susie's going.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Susie.
Shout out to Susie. Sadly, Susie this episode. If you haven't noticed, if you thought she was just be quiet.
Shout out to Susie. I don't know when this will go out, but Susie's dad passed away. And then fucking 2 nights later, Susie's doing a benefit for Palestine, because that's who she is.
She's a trooper. She is a trooper. I was also at that Palestine benefit, just to say I'm also a good person.
And who died?
Nobody died in my family.
Sit down.
Fuck's sake.
Now they will, because you've said that. Now they will. And they don't mind you.
And then people will go, hey, why did you just said nobody in your family died, and they did. Oh, fuck. This is what happens when you bulk record.
Who knows what will happen? If you have a large extended Iranian family, this could be a real red face for you.
It's a bit, and it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Not going brilliantly, the Middle East.
No.
I'm starting to think Tony Blair stint as Middle East peace envoy didn't go that well. I mean, he was there for how long? It's a solid decade he was working at, and he was like, right, should work now.
That's the sound of someone dusting off the hands after hard work there.
It's like someone's just fucking finished work in your car, and you get in and turn the fucking key, and you just go up like fucking Erin Eve. Yeah. It's like fucking Piper Alpha.
And you look out at him and you realise he's a sentient humanoid made of petrol. It's kind of gasoline.
A screaming flame.
He's like, have you seen Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah.
And there's the Calcifer, who's voiced by Billy Crystal. He's a kind of demon made of fire. He's like, hey, don't put me out. That's kind of what Tony Blair's like. But in a kind of petroleum rich environment.
He's like a variety of magical malice-based entities.
He's a malignant imp.
It is just like, we're those people, I know we're always saying it, but it's just, how do I serve power?
Yeah.
And like when you saw Starmer this week, Trump dropped his papers and Starmer's scrabbling around trying to pick them up. You're like, that's what you put in a Pixar movie for someone who's completely subservient. It's just total.
Somebody who wanted to, it's like it's like Peter Parker before he gets bit by a spider and he bumps into a girl in the hallway of the high school and the papers go everywhere and he goes, "Sorry, Gwen." Trump's very much Gwen Stacy in that.
I hope a spider does bite Starmer, man, but it's a massive one of those ones that crawls out of a fucking box of bananas, like a fucking thing the size of a fucking rugby ball.
A tarantula.
Yeah.
Do you know you can look at individual hairs on a spider's leg and you're like, well, you're too big. Your legs should be his, and you're like, his hairs. Get real.
I trapped a massive spider a couple of weeks ago, and I was really like, this thing might be able to bite through paper. I need to get something under the paper.
How did you do that?
With a lot of difficulty. Yeah, but I did. I got it out there. It's now, who knows what size it is now, galloping about in the fucking garden.
So I was in a London hotel, and there was a big spider, and it was big, but it was one of the things where it's like basically a kind of tangle of sentient pubes. Do you know what I mean? It's just big long hairs coming out. Like, what would you call that? Some people call it a daddy long leg. We've had this discussion on the podcast before, I'm sure.
Oh, it's a spider. I would call it a spider.
A big long spider, though.
Exactly. Well, a long-legged spider. That's what you saw.
Yeah.
Daddy Longlegs floats about eerily like a kind of Elden Ring boss.
There was one of them in my fucking bathroom last night, but the less said about that, the better.
Your fucking house is the old woman that swallowed the fly, man.
Yes.
Just seething
really
with fucking life.
Listen.
You should do a miniature like Attenborough show just round your house of all the stuff that's just living and dying in you.
This is Larry. He lives in my walls. Yes. I'm a horse that I ate in order to chase a sheep that I ate as well.
You could fire cannabis smoke into the slat and try and raise the consciousness of these things like, what's it called, Planet Apes?
This is the issue with
Planet
doing
Apes,
edibles,
these
is that
things.
you can't use your smoke
Yeah.
to
Get a chocolate one for the mouse. And who's to say it won't broaden his fucking mind?
yeah, maybe I'll go. Maybe I should travel. Get out of here. Go see what else the world has to offer that isn't a flat above a Chinese restaurant.
Doesn't fill me with faith in that Chinese restaurant either.
Apparently, that's just what happens when you live above or near a restaurant. Like if you're near a restaurant, they'll eat the bins outside there, and then they'll go, "Oh, what else is going on?" And they'll go have a look. And
This is
that's
a very Glasgow District Council attitude here, man. It's just what happens. Fucking rats everywhere.
Well. Oh, some cunt's phoning me. Can I eat this cannoli? Can I have a cannoli break? You shouldn't eat on podcasts, we've been told. And also, I think that.
We had to turn the comments off on Spotify because about half of them are complaints about eating on mic, which seems excessive. And it's just like...
But listen, I'm a dauphin, and about live performances, I would say, and I don't want to criticise you in any way, but a bit of a dauphin in terms of audiences while you're performing.
Wanting them to sit still.
Wanting them
and
to
not
sit still, not shout, which is fine. No, you don't want them to
cough. Yeah.
Or eat sweets.
Yeah, these are all things I would like them to not do. Eat fucking sweets. I'd like them to not make a lot of noise during a fucking thing they have paid to listen to.
I went to see you at the pavilion there with Billy and Boy, and I was in the 6th row, right next to. They had a few guillotines, teens built like a teenager, and a couple of people said, "Hey, love the podcast, excited to see this." And then diagonal from me, night chest piece away from me, 1 up, 3 along, a woman opened up a big bag of fucking minstrels. And I went, Frankie's gonna lose his mind. Frankie's gonna... Blind Boy's gonna ask him something about the IRA, and he's gonna turn into a fighter jet, a stealth jet. He's gonna go up into the air, and he's gonna pinpoint this woman, and he's gonna assassinate her. No,
it's only when they keep going for ages. Some people do it like, you would like doing those, remember those Glee shows?
Yes.
And I had to get them to cancel all the drinks offers because they were getting buckets of beer. And I said to this guy one night, how many beers have you got? And he was like, 8. Should hear them rustle and the ice like moving the bucket.
Well, the issue is the drinks come out in a big cold bucket, keep them cold because there's like 8 of them, and you're supposed to share them with someone. You're not supposed to have 8 beers to yourself. This guy's doing it wrong.
But I would argue it was an hour-long topical new material show.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there going, talk of leaving the European Convention on Human Rights this week as you're rummaging for your 5th beer.
And when the beer makes a sound against the ice, and then the ice, and also the beer hits off the metal tub on the way out, so it's like a gong. It's like someone's experimenting or practicing Eastern percussion. Yeah. Non-taiko Eastern percussion, mid-political comedy. Can be distracting for you and for the audience. So I get it, but...
Someone got thrown out pissed every night, and the show started at 5:30 and lasted for an hour. One time this woman got thrown out and she tripped over, and there's like a metal disability ramp to get in one corner, and her face just hit the fucking thing like a gong, man, and it was just awesome. Bust her nose. And so another night it was like this guy couldn't really quite work out what was going on, but perhaps it was a May to December homosexual relationship.
Right.
An older gentleman who seemed quite chaotic, and a young, very chaotic man. And they got into a kind of row with the bouncer, and the bouncer was quite a lively fellow himself. The good line in Blood Meridian where someone just goes to the kid, he goes, "Have you had counter with the Aborigine yet?" By which he means like Native Americans. And he goes, no, I haven't, sir. And he goes, "I think you'll find him right lively." And
these people you're genociding,
this
quite lively.
bouncer was of that disposition. And then the old guy, as the young guy kind of was subdued, started shouting, "This is now a medical emergency!" And like Ray Bradshaw was on, and I was like trying to call him off.
You were calling him off at the curtain?
Yeah.
Through the veil?
Yeah, and this is like 5:40 at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a bunch of jokes to do about Michael Gove.
Yeah.
And then the guy, so they got thrown out, and the guy went upstairs and just punched one of the security in the cinema above, because then he just didn't really distinguish, but it was all just a video game location. Yeah. And he just went and punched a kind of usher.
If you're in the Rift in jail in Skyrim, and then you fast travel to Whiterun, you're not going to delineate between the different...
But then some guy that's trying to serve you a fucking Tango Ice Blast gets fucking jabbed.
He's getting a blast of his own.
Yeah.
Adalrai Toffee Smith is giving you a blast of his own, my friend.
It was a great period, but at the same time I'm glad not to have to break out my material about the Iran-Israel conflict in Glasgow's club scene.
Yeah, it made sense to me at the time, but now looking back, that does seem almost absurd.
Yeah, but what else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do?
You got to try the jokes out, but then some people don't try the jokes out, you know, and hellmend them.
Hellmend TV as a medium.
Hellmend it. I've been watching TV.
Me too, actually.
And there's like, I really enjoyed Criminal Record, the Peter Capaldi thing.
Oh, okay.
And I find that at the moment there's just a lot of pressure on TV for people to be running around, and they don't really want to give you these notes, but they're like, could everyone be poisoned and looking for an antidote? Could everyone be trying to defuse a bomb at all times? And you're just kind of like, oh God, it's kind of exhausting. So everything, I don't know how closely you watch, but everything runs at 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, occasional 1 3 minutes scene, an episode. And then this Peter Capaldi thing, criminal record, just starts with 6 minutes of him in the car, and it's just the character. It's not even relevant to what happens. He's got a side hustle. He's a horrible Scottish cop. He's got a side hustle, chauffeuring people about, and you just get, oh, that's what this character's like. He's this horrible Scottish malevolent presence almost, and you're like, all right, I want to see what happens when this guy investigates a crime. I'm hooked. I'm in. You know. And
is it believable that a cop would have a second job as a chauffeur? Is that a common thing?
Knowledge them do. Yeah.
Wow.
Loads of them have side hustles. Yeah.
And I guess that if you're a kind of evil man, you kind of want a bent cop as your chauffeur.
Well, I don't know spoilers for this show, but if he's kind of framed someone for murder, I think the rules on second jobs are as nothing to him.
Right, okay, yeah.
But also there's like Cush Jumbo, isn't it? And she's really good. And
incredible name.
But she is like he's the kind of antagonist and she's the protagonist. And when they first meet, it's like 6.5 minutes in an office. It's just them sitting having a kind of like passive aggressive row. And you're just like, yeah, that's kind of what you need to do sometimes, because we need to care about the people. And so much telly is just me watching strangers, characters I don't care about, run around.
Sprint. Kinetic motion. They're so terrified that somebody will get bored of a scene and look at the phone, and it's like, you just can't exist in opposition to that. You just kind of have to make your own thing work.
You can't make it for the people who aren't watching.
Yeah, exactly. You can't make it. You can't make people care about it if your sole interest is on the people who don't care about it. You're like, make something for people who like stuff.
What have you been watching?
White Lotus.
All right, which series?
1 and 2, and I've started 3, but I need to wait till I come back from Evita, I think, to watch the third one, because I'm watching it with my partner, and she's in London. So
I like the way you said partner in the Wild West, kind of way. Is that how you see it? Is it kind of like
we kind of
cross this desert together? And
the Friscalating Dusk, yeah. Two horseback riders, you know, moseying on past a cactus and a sun-bleached buffalo skull.
Have we talked about this in the pod, about that sentence in Blood Meridian?
It's mostly been Blood Meridian sentences for a few episodes.
I think we've mentioned this. There's a great bit where he gets in a cart with some. Everybody's been wiped out by natives,
yes,
and they're absolutely fucked and injured, and him and some guy manage to somehow get far enough away that they get picked up by someone in a cart that's just going to the next town, right? And they just fall asleep, injured, fucked in this cart under a tarp or whatever, right? And when they get out, the first sentence is just starlight on a mud street, and you're like, that's it, that's everything you need to know. It's like it's a town, but it's not really a town. It's, you know, it's that, oh god, they're still in that part of the world, they're still not safe. Everything just in a few words. It's fantastic.
Starlight on a mud street.
Yeah.
Stylus in Bible black. That's right. Fuck me.
A lot of my life has been starlight on a mud street, my friend.
Starlight on Grimsby.
The moon also shines on Grimsby. Do you know what I mean? You ever get knocked out by that? The moon.
They get knocked out by it.
Yeah, do you ever get knocked out
startled by it?
The moon, the stars, the constellations, they also turn above Scunthorpe.
It's the sad thing about this. A lot of people is that they've got no interest in the moon. And they'll look up and enjoy it. It's wasted on them.
A huge observatory in Grimsby would
improve the mood.
I think it would.
Do you know what? I think if we could reverse the destiny of the fish population and add a planetarium to that city, and that would really turn things around, because it's a fish It's a fish-based economy.
Looking down into the sea and up into the stars.
And seeing, I think,
The
if we,
yin-yang of
Yeah.
Grimsby.
what are fish if not the stars of the ocean?
Mhm.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening to
Thank you.
another episode.
Have
I've
we
got a
covered-
YouTube special. Maybe I'll put this in a different bit if we can put this. A kind of plug section.
Well, leave it here and then do another one somewhere else.
Oh
as well.
yeah. Watch my new special, Scary Times, recorded live at the Pavilion Theatre, where you spoke to Blind Boy. But I was doing stand up there in November, and I've recorded it, and it's on the Some Laugh Podcast's YouTube channel. From what day is it today? It's the 18th.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for the audience, but
Yeah.
basically it comes out on the 22nd of June. So it'll be out by the time you hear this.
That was the smoothest promo I've ever had.
I don't understand. Someone told me like they worked with Alan Carr on something, and they asked him, "Could you do a little bit of promo for this?" And he went into it, and he had pizzazz. He had he was clear. He knew what he was talking about, and they said it was like watching a magician pull a tablecloth off a table.
That's because people are paying for his special. Nice.
No, this wasn't for the special part. It was like the promo was just so slick because he'd worked in TV and he'd done the Friday Night Project and he'd done Chatty Man. He was a real slick pro in terms of just being like, "This is at this time, and this is what it is." I can't even do an example. My brain doesn't work like that. But yeah, I wish I was more like Alan Carr. Is what I'm saying. But
Don't we all?
don't we all?
Take care there.
Yeah, thanks a lot.